hopeless optimists, but they don't have a concrete plan on why or how they're going to get better. It's funny because pessimists are typically safe from gamblers' mindset. It's the optimists who are the ones who end up getting into these kind of gambling mindsets because they always think, oh, this is the time. They're always full of hope, but they don't have a concrete plan of, okay, how are you going to get better? Hey everyone, welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. 99% of traders will never make consistent profits. So why listen to the 99% of advice? On this show, we're going to challenge some of the most hallowed and repeated tenets of trading, and in doing so, set you up to succeed where others fail. Spoiler alert, we don't have a secret strategy or magic wand that will let you skip out on the hard work of learning the markets, but we can debunk viewpoints that are holding you back. If that sounds good to you, come join us.
Welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. Have you ever heard the question, what's the difference between a gambler and a trader? Well, the difference is gamblers sometimes make money, traders don't. At least 95% of them don't. And today, Levi wants to discuss a little bit about how to identify whether you are gambling or whether you are actually becoming, I would say, a successful trader, part of that 5% who actually are consistently making money from the markets. Levi, how are you?
Yo, I'm doing awesome, doing awesome. It's late over here, and I'm starting to zonk out. I'm exhausted, but I'm holding it together. I wanted to talk about this. We've been chatting about a little bit about this off the mics, and yeah, I wanted to talk about it a little bit because I think a lot of traders are are essentially degenerate gamblers. And if you I guess my main thesis statement is that if you're a gambler, you're never going to make money. So ironically enough, no gamblers ever make money. This is true in even for like let's say the most common gambling, let's say poker, right? Professional poker players. The most ironic part about the professional poker players is that the professional poker players don't gamble. They're not gamblers. If you gamble, you're never going to make money. And we've had some conversations, and this is touched on a few of the podcasts we've had in the last month or so, where we've talked about what it takes to be successful and if there are people who never will be successful. And this is one of them. This is a big one. Like there we've had this conversations about, are there people who will never make it? And one type of person who will never ever be successful, it doesn't matter how much time they put in, are the gamblers. And so yeah, that's why I wanted to chat a little bit about whether, how to identify if you are a gambler, and maybe if you see some of these in yourself, how to avoid them, how to get past that. Because if you never do get past the gambling mindset, you'll never ever make money.
Yeah, because I mean, I was on the degenerate cesspool, also known as X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, a few days ago, and I saw someone had written into one of the prop firms and asked how much has someone spent on prop firm accounts in any given month? And their answer back, which I have no reason to doubt them, was they had two individuals who had spent $50,000 on prop firm
Dude, I saw the
challenges
same thing,
in
man.
1 month.
I
Now, if
saw the
that
same
isn't
thing.
gambling, I don't know what is. And so that's kind of, that's kind of the mentality that I feel most beginning traders have, or at least most, not that most of the 99% of traders who fail have, is they're just there trying to make a quick buck. So how can you ensure that you aren't doing that? I think that's the number one question.
Yeah. So I have three off the top of my head. Feel free to add if you have anything. But my first point on how to identify whether you're a gambler, and again, if you're a gambler, you'll never be successful ever. Number one, you're excited when you win and you're depressed when you lose. Okay, so this is now, I'm not saying as a successful trader you never have emotions, right? But the emotions are dulled because a successful trader knows that it's a game of statistics and you have an edge and then you just play that edge out over 1,000 trades and you'll come out on top. You're not terribly excited about your wins and your losses. It's like if someone gave you the opportunity to bet on a coin toss, but let's say you had instead of a 50-50 chance, you had a 60% chance of winning. Well, and they just gave you 1,000 tries, right? You flip the coin 1,000 times, you get to bet on it, and you have a 60% chance of winning. Would you be all excited when you lost and all depressed? I mean, sorry, all excited when you won and all depressed when you lost? No, of course
No.
not. Because okay, I'm going to lose 40% of these, but I'm going to make 60%. And it's just you're just playing out the odds over the long run. Gamblers, and this is I think most beginning traders do start as gamblers. They do it for the thrill. It's exciting. Now, you should enjoy what you do. I like trading. You should hopefully you can do something that you enjoy. But if you're trading and you're trading for the excitement and you're depressed when you lose and you're all excited and thrilled and ecstatic when you win, that's like my first sign that something's wrong and you're in a gambler's mindset.
Yeah, that's a great point. And before we go farther, I just want to mention another thing that I've said and that I've identified. Here's a way to identify if you're gambling. If you have never passed a prop firm account, then you should only be buying a 10K account. If you're buying any account that is bigger than that, you're a gambler. Like that's just a quick way to identify. If you keep buying 10, if you keep buying 50K, 100K, 200K prop firm accounts, but you've never passed a one before and you've never passed a 10K account, you're gambling, right? Because you haven't proven to yourself yet that you can trade.
Hey everyone, Levi here to quickly ask if you're finding value in the podcast. We would love it if you'd take a moment to follow the show and leave a review. It helps us out a lot and enables us to bring you the best possible content. Thanks for being part of the community. We love you guys.
To kind of spin off of that, we are doing a giveaway currently where you can win
Oh yes,
a
please.
month of a month of free coaching with Levi and I. This is not something we sell because, as we've made very clear on this podcast, we do not sell anything. We're not here to make money off of new traders, but we do want to be able to give back. We had a couple mentors that really took the time out for us to teach us and spend time going over charts and reviewing our trades with us. And we're trying to do the same thing and give back to the community. So if you want to get enrolled in that contest, which will be ending next week, all you need to do is post a 5-star review on the podcast, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then share the podcast somewhere, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or just a direct, text message to a friend. Send that to us at what's our email address or Twitter?
Contact at anarchytrading.com. Contact at anarchytrading.com is our email, and you can find us at Anarchy Trading on Twitter. Yeah, thanks for throwing that in there. That's going for another week, so feel free to throw those up. It's interesting that you brought up the like getting big accounts, buying big prop firm accounts when you haven't proved that you can pass even a small one, because that leads into my second one, which is hope. Gamblers have bottomless wells of hope, but
They're
no,
hopeless optimists.
yeah, hopeless optimists, but they don't have a concrete plan on why or how they're going to get better. So you say hopeless optimists. It's funny because pessimists are typically safe from gamblers' mindset. So if you're a pessimist, you're like, I'll never get it, and you don't, it's the optimists who are the ones who end up getting into these kind of gambling mindsets because they always think, oh, this is the time, I'll make it this time, and they have wells of hope. They're always full of hope, but they don't have a concrete plan of, okay, so how are you going to get better? Are you hoping here? So this prop firm account that you're going to buy, this $500,000 prop firm account, you haven't passed a 10K. Like, why? Right? Like, what gives you is it just hope? Do you have a plan on how you're going to get better or why you're better? And that's a big one. That number two, you have tons of hope. You think you're going to, this time's the one, but you don't have a concrete plan or practice to develop the discipline to actually get better.
Yeah, that's so true. And as we mentioned, I think just a couple weeks ago, one of the big signs of failing traders is that they are ever hopeful when they're in losing trades,
Hmm.
and they're ever fearful in winning trades. It's amazing how hopeful you can be, and I've seen this in myself. You're in a losing trade, but you're like, the price is going to turn around there. I'm not going to exit, even though now it looks horrible. Or you're like, okay, I'm going to move my stop loss because really price could go to here and then reverse. Like, you're ever hopeful, and that's why a lot of times, the number one, most winning traders. Like, if you look at the data, so I heard this interesting statistic. So most, even retail traders, they have a winning, like they are positive. They win more than 50% of the time, but their losers are always bigger than their winners because they don't let their runners run, and they let their winner and losers go, too long.
Hmm.
And so they actually have a better than 50% chance win rate. So they should be making money, but they're not, because of that ever hope and the lack of putting in the effort and work to actually improve.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hope is a powerful thing. But not when not when you're, hope only takes you so far, and you have to have concrete risk management and skills that are going to get you there. Because if you're just hoping that you're going to get better or hoping that a trade goes your way, man, that kills you. And like you said, that's one of the main reasons people hang on to losing trades. It's really hard, weirdly enough, to cut losers. It's way easy. You'd think it'd be the opposite, right? You'd think it'd be easy to hold on to your winners because it's winning, right? But it's not. You want to cut out because you're afraid of losing. And then your losers, you got all this hope. Oh no, it'll turn around. And yeah, it's a killer. It's a number my number two sign of a gambler. And the last one, um number three of how to tell if you have a gambler's mindset is you treat trading like a game and not like a business. Just to throw it back to poker real quick. Yes, professional poker players, the top of the top tier poker players, they I'm sure enjoy their game. You have to enjoy it to be able to put that much time in, but they treat it like a business. And the especially the new kind of wave of poker players who, kind of play game theory optimal poker, they just do what is mathematically correct and then they just leave it, like they just leave the rest up to fate. They just do what's correct. They don't care about how they feel. They don't care about what's exciting. They don't care about the cameras. They just do, like, is it mathematically correct for me to fold here? Okay, I fold. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I feel. Doesn't matter if I'm excited. Doesn't matter if I want the glory. It's not a game for them. It's a business. It's just there's winners and there's losers and there's a profit and loss, and they add up their numbers at the end of the month, and typically they're profitable. And that's how day trading works. If you treat it like a game, if like, this ties into the first point, but if you're all excited and you treat it like a game, and your losses you take hard and your winners you get ecstatic over, then you're not going to last. You're just not. You're never going to make it ever. You have to treat it like a business, a cold numbers, stats business
Yeah.
if you ever plan on being successful.
Yeah, and practically what that means is you're never going to find a professional poker player playing a high stakes game on his phone while driving to work, right? You're not going to
Right.
find the high stakes poker player playing poker while he's sitting on the toilet, taking a dump, right? So the same thing goes with trading. Like, pick your trading hours, pick your trading time. If you need to get off your phone, pick your hours, sit down, be professional about it, and again, treat it as a business. So totally agree. And
Yeah.
it's very easy to treat it as a game. I think a lot of people who get into it nowadays, it kind of is a game to some extent. a game with higher stakes, right? Like you can
Right.
lose actual money, but it is a game. So turn it into a business, and that is going to have a huge impact on your trading career.